Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Amanda Manning, and I will be kind of presenting everything tonight. Please know that at any time, if you have any questions or concerns, feel free to use the chat feature. I will be monitoring that, but you are also welcome to unmute yourself and speak as well. I am more than happy to take any questions. The goal is to make sure you get all of your questions answered today and some additional information on Purdue's College of Pharmacy. I am joined today by three current students in the College of Pharmacy. So if you wouldn't mind, I have them in order on my screen. I have Sloan, Kate, and Evie. So if each of you would take a moment to kind of introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about you, name, hometown, year in school. We'll get to the fun stuff later, but for now, let's just start with introductions. So if you wouldn't mind, Sloan, I have you up first.
Hi, I'm Sloan. I am a sophomore this year and I'm from Napanee, Indiana.
Kate, if you don't mind, I have you next.
Okay, hi, my name's Kate. I'm currently a first year professional student, so technically a junior. I'm from Plymouth, Michigan.
Hi everyone, my name is Evie. I'm a sophomore in my second year of pre-pharmacy and I am from Fort Wayne, Indiana.
All right, thank you all so much. So this session is being recorded just so everyone knows, so that we can share it with others who weren't able to make it tonight. I'm going to go ahead and kind of get started walking through this presentation, but I will definitely be relying on Sloan, Kate, and Evie for some information along the way as well. So like I said, my name is Amanda Manning. I am a senior academic advisor in the College of Pharmacy. I have been with the College of Pharmacy for a little over 2.5 years and absolutely loving it. If you ever have any questions, you are welcome to reach out to me. You will see my email there on the screen, mannonad@purdue.edu. I'm happy to answer your questions or forward them to the person who may be a little bit better to answer them. Before we get too far into the presentation, I would like to ask my ambassadors, why did you pick Purdue and why did you pick pharmacy? I know some people picked one first and then the other, so feel free to answer those in whichever order makes more sense for you. Sloan, would you go ahead and get us started?
So I picked pharmacy because in high school I had loved math and chemistry, and I knew I wanted to do something with healthcare and helping people and individuals, but I knew I didn't want to do the blood and the guts and everything like that. So I figured pharmacy was a good choice for me. And then my aunt and uncle are both Purdue Pharmacy alum, and they raved about how amazing Purdue was in the pharmacy school. And after visiting campus, I fell in love with campus. So that's why I chose Purdue.
I kind of chose Purdue or pharmacy first and then Purdue. My mom and I were talking, and I knew I wanted to go into something also in the medical field. Wasn't quite sure what. Always had loved math and science like everyone else. So I landed on pharmacy, and I'm super happy with that. Purdue kind of came second. It kind of stood out to me the format of our program. It's different from other schools, and that kind of stood out. I had no idea about Purdue at first, but I love it here, and I'm so grateful to be here.
So I'll kind of start with Purdue first. So my dad's a Purdue grad, so I grew up being a huge Purdue basketball fan, so I'm kind of biased on Purdue and I always knew that I wanted to go here and kind of follow in his footsteps. And then I chose pharmacy because I also wanted to do something in healthcare, but I wasn't sure what. And then I think just from talking with my parents and kind of talking to other people around me, pharmacy kind of came up, which is something that like I never even really thought about. Um, and then I think I just chose pharmacy because it's so versatile. I think learning about how drugs metabolize in the body is super cool. So yeah, that's why I chose it.
Thank you all so much. All right, to kind of kick it off, we'll hit some of the highlights of what makes Purdue Pharmacy special. So we have two different degree paths. We have our 4-year Bachelor of Science in Pharmaceutical Sciences. We typically call it the BSPS because Bachelor of Science in Pharmaceutical Sciences is a bit of a mouthful. We also have our 2+4 PharmD program. So I'm going to kind of outline a little bit about those just so you can have an idea. So, first up is that 4-year Bachelor of Science in Pharmaceutical Sciences, the BSPS. It is a 4-year undergraduate program where students who may be interested in research, drug discovery, drug development, this could be a really good path for them, or students who maybe want to use it as a stepping stone to medical school or dental school or optometry. There are a lot of options for things you can do after the 4-year degree. Some of our students will go on to do graduate school. There are definitely just different paths you can take with it. I currently have one student interested in medical writing, one who is interested in forensic science, lots of options. The 3 students I have here today with me are all interested in the PharmD path. So that is 2 years of undergrad followed by 4 years of pharmacy school. So Kate had mentioned that she's in her first year of pharmacy school, and that's how she has done 3 years. So 2 years of the undergrad first. Something to note is that the first 2 years, no matter which path you take, are nearly identical. The only difference is our BSPS students will take Calculus 2. Our Pre-PharmD students will take a Pre-PharmD educational goal selective. This could be something along the lines of ethics or philosophy. It could be something like critical thinking or sociology. We're really trying to get students to think outside themselves, think in the gray rather than the black and white. So that's the real difference, is that one course. I think this diagram does a pretty good job of explaining things. So all students, when they come in as freshmen, come in as pharmaceutical sciences. That is the only major within our program. So all students come in as pharmaceutical sciences, and they just talk to their advisor in the summer before they get to Purdue, and they say, I'm interested in the BSPS, or I'm interested in pursuing the PharmD. That's something we keep track of internally, but all students stay on that pharmaceutical sciences major. We keep those students on track, and then once they get to their second year, they decide whether or not they want to apply to the PharmD program. If they do, awesome, we'll get them through that process. There's even a course, PHSC 200, that students can take to help them apply to the program. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But students who don't want to apply, just continue on getting their bachelor's degree and complete that, no problems along the way. In a little while, a few slides down the road, I'll talk about what happens if you don't get into the PharmD program, what options you have, and what that process looks like. A couple of highlights really for more the professional program side of things is that we offer a certificate in nuclear pharmacy. So if you're interested in radiopharmaceuticals, if maybe you're okay with having a sleep schedule that's a little bit different than most people, this could be a great option. So there are scans and treatments out there that require radiopharmaceuticals. So they need to be created in a lab in the hours before they are needed. So sometimes you'll find nuclear pharmacists are working at 2 or 3 in the morning to make sure that those are prepared. It's a really unique field. We have top of the line faculty for it. A really great option if you want something a little bit more unique on your resume. Something else that we have that sets us apart is the academic retail pharmacy. So this is actually located within our pharmacy building on campus, and all of our first year professional students will work in the pharmacy and get experience working with real patients. Some other schools may offer some simulations, but our pharmacy is open Monday through Friday like most pharmacies. I actually pick up my own personal prescriptions there. I probably should have asked beforehand, but Kate, have you been able to work in the pharmacy yet?
Actually, my first day is tomorrow. So,
How
I'm
exciting! What do you know about
excited.
it?
Yeah, so a lot of my friends just recently got done with it. It's like an 8-week program. So you work in the pharmacy for 3 hours each week, and then you have like a little like class after lecture on Fridays. But it is super helpful, they've told me so far. It's very similar to certain retail settings like a CVS or Walgreens, a little more in depth, but they really have loved it, and I'm really excited to start tomorrow. So
All right, can't wait to see you in there. I typically walk past the pharmacy on my way to and from work, so I make sure to pop my head in. Another part of the class is learning the top drugs used. So you're learning the name brands, the generics, the dosages. So really making sure our students are well informed. Something I like to really share is what the experience is like going into the academic retail pharmacy, because I can tell you it is nothing like what you would expect from some other pharmacies. So I'm going to have you all take a moment and picture going to pick up a prescription. The last time you did that, you probably walked into a Walgreens or CVS, Kroger, Walmart, what have you, or maybe you used the drive-through and you went up and you gave them your name and your date of birth. And they said, "Okay, I'll be right back." And they brought you the little white bag and it was stapled shut. And they said, "Do you have any questions?" And you said, "No, I don't have any questions," because no one ever has questions. And they say, "Okay, have a nice day." And you leave. That is not the experience you have with Purdue University Pharmacy. Our students are really working on their counseling skills to make sure patients are well aware of what they're taking and why. So, for example, the last time I picked up a medication, I walked in, I did give them my name and date of birth, and they did have the little white bag, but it was not stapled. They took out the medication and they opened the bottle and they poured a pill out and they said, "Have you seen this before? Do you know what this is? Do you know why you're taking it? Do you know what side effects to expect? When are you supposed to take it, day or night? What did your doctor tell you about this medication? Are you supposed to take it with food or without food?" And they are checking to make sure you are really well prepared to take the medication that you're on. It's absolutely phenomenal, and I've never been more well informed about the medications going into my body. And I think it's amazing that these students who are traditionally thought of as juniors in college are the ones making sure we have this information. And don't worry, they are overseen by older students as well as licensed pharmacists, so you are getting the correct information. We make sure of it. It's also incredibly convenient from a student's point of view in the sense that it is located right next door to Purdue University Student Health. So if you, say, have a sinus infection and go get diagnosed and they need to give you some sort of prescription, you can just go right next door and pick it up. So it's really super convenient, both from the pharmacy student side and the I am a human and sometimes I need to pick up medications side. We are consistently ranked in the top 10 of pharmacy schools. That is something we are incredibly proud of. So we have really great faculty. We have wonderful advisors. We are making sure our students are well prepared for the NAPLEX exam once they graduate. That all goes into our ranking. We are also an R1 research institution, so our students are getting heavily involved in research as early as their first year. I personally have an advisee who was on campus for Boiler Gold Rush, which is kind of like an orientation program on campus before school starts, where freshmen get acquainted with campus, kind of see what it's like. Pharmacy tends to put on a welcome carnival, which is pretty awesome, not gonna lie. And this student of mine was at the carnival and had gone inside the building to use the restroom. And he was with a friend and he says, "Hey, I'm interested in research." Right behind him was our associate dean for research, Val Watts, and was like, "I can help you with that," and got the student set up with research before he even started his first day of classes. That student is now a junior in the BSPS program, still in that lab and working on cancer research with proteins, if I remember right. It is incredible. I'm not sure about our students we have with us today. Are any of you involved in research currently, or have you been in the past? No, that's okay. Um, some of our students do get involved in research, some don't. It is completely up to the student, but it is a fairly easy process to get involved. I have dozens of students who will just email me saying, "Hey Amanda, I'm interested in research. How do I go about it?" We have an informational video created by Dr. Watts that walks you through the process of finding faculty who might be researching something you're interested in, how to reach out to them, how to do so professionally. It's really incredible getting students set, and then they can get credit hours for that, and it looks really good on their resume. Something else we take pride in is our merging of clinical and basic science teaching. So in the professional program, we make sure that students are learning the book side of things, but also the application side of things in the same semester. So they are making sure to maybe learn about, let's say, asthma in the classroom. Well, the same week or maybe the next week, they will learn about inhalers in their lab courses, the different types of inhalers, why you would use them, when you would use them. We also bring in patients, fake patients usually, so that students get to work with, say, a 5-year-old who needs an inhaler. How do you work with a 5-year-old who may not want to listen to you? How do you work with parents? How do you work if they have a spouse? Whatever that is, students are going to get that experience working with real people. We also pride ourselves in our cost, so we are the most affordable of the top 10 pharmacy schools, which is incredibly important to us. We're quite devoted to making sure everything is affordable. One thing we are really excited about is our new building. It is in the process of being built. I'm not sure if the ambassadors have seen the construction barrels out, but they are working on it. So our new nursing and pharmacy education building will be on the corner of Mitch Daniels Boulevard and Russell Street. If you are familiar with campus, that is near Lilly Hall of Science as well as Farmhouse Fraternity. And it may seem a little odd that we are putting nursing and pharmacy together, but if you think of the clinical aspects of things, it makes sense to share those spaces where patient interaction is going to be a common thread between us. So this is something we're really excited about. I commonly get questions about what does the first semester look like? And please know that for every student, the first semester looks a little bit different. But what we generally recommend is our Chem 129 course, Math 16010, Biology 110, PHSC 100, and oral com, written com, or econ, and then AP and dual credit can change this. I know I just gave a whole lot of acronyms and such. Let me cover what that means. So Chem 129 is our intro chemistry course. This course is kind of two chemistry courses put into one and accelerated. And the reason behind that is it allows our students to take organic chemistry their second semester. And that is one way that we help students stay on that 2+4 track. Math 16010 is Calculus 1. Our Biology 110 is our intro biology course. Some students may start out in anatomy and physiology instead of biology, so definitely some different options there. And PHSC 100 is a course where students are learning about pharmacy, learning about the different areas of pharmacy, making a resume, kind of just learning about what pharmacy can look like. And then oral communication, written communication, and economics, those are all courses that will be required at some point, and we like our students to have a non-STEM course in that first semester. We'll be going over AP credits and dual credits in just a moment, but if maybe Sloan and Evie, you're kind of our most recent students to come in, if you wouldn't mind talking a little bit about the PHSC 100 course and what you got out of it, that would be really appreciated.
We can go ahead and go. It was a really laid back course. I don't know if it still is, but I think for us it was all online. So it was mostly just watching a lecture video each week and doing a short assignment. We learned how to make our resumes, write memos, professional emails, how to send an email that isn't just like, how do I do this? Like you're actually trying to communicate in a professional way, which is very important, especially when you want to be reaching out to faculty. Um, but overall, it was really helpful. There are so many resources on campus as well for like resume building and things like that. But I think this was a great start to get a first resume built, especially if you're looking for jobs or anything like that. When you get to campus, it's good to get that built for yourself. So I really enjoyed the course.
Yeah, just kind of going on the lines of what Sloan said. It's a super chill, laid back online course that's I think it was pass or fail. Yeah, we just kind of learned like professional stuff. There were probably about like 10 TAs that we had that we could email and contact and ask any questions to about anything. So yeah, just a super helpful introductory course.
Thank you both for that. So I get a lot of questions about AP credits, but the same can be said for dual credit, and IB credit. Important courses, if you are considering taking them, things that could be really useful to you. The most common courses that students bring in are biology, calculus A, B, or BC, chemistry, English language, economics, either micro or macro, and statistics. For most of these courses, you need a 4 or a 5 to earn credit directly towards a class, but threes can also be useful as well as other courses not mentioned here. There has been a relatively recent change that students entering the professional program need 72 credit hours. And so courses not on this list, as well as courses where you earn a 3 in most cases, they'll come in as elective credit and help towards that total. So it's really important to transfer in any credit that you have. Um, Sloan, Kate, Evie, did any of you bring in any credit with you? How did you use it? What do you think is important to know as a prospective high school student?
Yeah, I brought in some random credit. I brought in psychology and English, which helped me in like contributing to those like extra elective classes, which I thought was helpful. But literally anything is helpful. I just think that it's helpful to have some credits before and have some like experience with college classes before coming to campus.
I don't know if we're going to talk about this later, but I brought in quite a few credits from dual credit classes as well, which I know are a little different than AP. But that's where I brought in a lot of my credits. I think I brought in a 3 from calculus, so that didn't give me any credit on my calculus. But yeah, I would recommend it if you can. Just I didn't have to end up taking like econ or English or speech here at all, so it was very helpful.
Yeah, I kind of brought in a good mix as well. I would definitely like recommend it. For example, I got a 4 on my AP chemistry test, so I didn't have to take that big Chem 129 class my very first semester, which was amazing. And that also allowed me to kind of get a year ahead and take anatomy and physiology as well as like bio and all those other classes. So that was super helpful because I don't have to take that this year. And then for dual credit, I didn't have to take like speech or written class or any calculus as well. So would definitely recommend taking them if you can.
That was really helpful. Evie, I did not realize that you did not take Chem 129. That's really interesting. Um, Purdue College of Pharmacy, we will highly recommend you bring in any credit that you can. We do not have a limit, so please, anything that you can, do bring it. When I'm working with my students, I will tell them, bring in the biology, bring in the written communication, but when it comes to chemistry, we like to have a conversation about it. So typically, if one of my students brings in a 4 or a 5 for chemistry, it does give them credit for the Chem 129 course, like Evie said. But I will ask the student, hey, tell me about your experience in that course. Do you feel like you had a really thorough covering of the material? Did you have an instructor that went really in depth? Do you feel like you know what you need to know going forward? Most of the time, I will encourage our students to still take Chem 129, just to get a real in-depth experience with it. My students who took AP chemistry and then took our Chem 129 course typically say they're very similar. The Chem 129 just goes more into depth with everything, explains it a little bit more, gets to the nitpicky stuff. So similar, but a little bit more information packed in there. A lot of students tend to be interested in our PharmD program, so it's important to kind of go over what that looks like. So in the fall of your second year, you apply to pharmacy school, whether that's at Purdue or somewhere else. You apply through the PharmCast website, and something really important to note is that we do not require the PCAT. Our students tend to fare really well when it comes to applying to pharmacy school because we always have help available. Um, our students all are assigned an advisor within the College of Pharmacy that they have from when they enter to when they graduate. So they're not being handed off to different advisors, maybe in a pre-professional program and then pharmacy. We work with students in undergrad and the professional program. We also have 2 courses designed for helping with this process, that PHSC 100 course that we already mentioned, as well as PHSC 200. And this course is designed to help with applying to the PharmD program. So, Evie, I'm going to guess that you're in this course right now. Could you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, so it's just also kind of an introductory class to kind of go through not only the application process, but also just kind of general things in pharmacy. So I'm actually taking it online right now to because I had to take some other classes in that time block. But basically, I have a meeting with my teaching advisor who is a professional pharmacy student every week, and we meet in a group on Zoom. Um, and each week we have a module, whether that is learning how to transfer transcripts for your application. Or, like, for example, last week we also had to research kind of like a pharmacy current event and give our input on that. So it's a lot of different things, not only just based exactly on the pharmacy application. So, yeah, it's super helpful.
Wonderful, thank you. The only reason I'm not relying on Sloan for this one, I know she has other plans right now, and we will get to that. Um, so let's take a look at what makes a strong PharmD applicant. So if you want your resume to be strong, you want your application to be as good as it can be, these are what we call the puzzle pieces because they come together to form the ideal candidate. So some things that we're looking for are, say, work experience. We'd love to see some form of work where you are in a formal setting getting paid. That could be babysitting, that could be lifeguarding, that could be working at an ice cream shop or serving, whatever that may look like for you. We like to see leadership in organizations, some volunteerism and service. Academic performance, we really hope to see grades at a 3.0 or above in college. When you look at our incoming P1 class, which would be our first year professional students, that class usually has an average GPA of about a 3.4 or a 3.5. We want to see career exploration, and this is a big one that I really try to push for my advisees, is making sure you know what you're getting yourself into. So try to work as a pharmacy technician if you can. Try to shadow some pharmacists, interview pharmacists, really explore what pharmacy looks like. So many of us are so used to thinking of pharmacy as that person at CVS, Walgreens, Kroger, whatever it is. There's so much more to it. So students who get to explore different areas of pharmacy tend to have a better chance moving forward just because they have a better, well-rounded idea of what to expect, and that gives them more to talk about in their interview for pharmacy school. Speaking of that interview part, communication skills are huge, both verbally and written. So there is a writing portion to the application and the interview portion. So we need to make sure that our students really are well-rounded. Since Sloan and Evie are going through the process of applying to the program now, and Kate, you just went through it, I'd love to hear kind of some different perspectives on what have you done to be a strong candidate? What did you do to be a strong candidate? Um, how do you shine? What makes you special for your application?
Okay, I can go. I remember having this picture literally in my phone, like when I first came to Purdue, and I still look at it. But I kind of just have different experiences in all of these. I think they're really important to be well-rounded. I worked in an ice cream shop when I was a little 17-year-old. Also, I did have some work experience at CVS. I was involved in a couple of organizations on campus. It's really easy to become involved, and I find it's like really fun. I'm involved in ambassadors for pharmacy. I'm also involved in Kappa Epsilon, which is a pharmacy fraternity, and also a social sorority. So it sounds a little hectic, but it's super fun to be involved, and it's really easy to find clubs that you're interested in. You can literally be in anything like pharmacy related or not pharmacy related. Volunteer and service, honestly, really easy to get that through the clubs. And also, like, before coming to college, I had a lot of experience volunteering at a special needs place where we were paired with special needs kids and we worked with them, which was super fun. And like academics and stuff. Yeah. And I did shadow a couple of pharmacists at home too. So that kind of got me into it and kind of realized that there's a lot of paths to pharmacy and opened it up and kind of grew my interest more. So that's kind of my circle.
What I am hopefully doing to hopefully get this application going. I work currently at Walmart Pharmacy, and then on campus, I'm in Pharmacy Ambassadors, and then I am also in Higher Ground Dance Company because I think it's also very important that they're going to be looking at things that you're doing not just in pharmacy. They want you doing things outside of pharmacy so they know that or not know anything, but they want that well-roundedness. And then currently, kind of an oddball out, but I am doing a semester off and completing an internship right now, in Indianapolis. So, yeah, I think don't be too stressed out about getting all of this. It comes easily. It's not like you're scrambling around trying to do all these things. There's posters everywhere. We have a kiosk in the pharmacy building that has so many opportunities, and opportunities really do come to you. Um, Obviously, you do have to search a little bit, but they are very there and available for all students.
Yeah, I just definitely want to back up what Sloan said that a lot of times you'll hear pharmacy students talking about their experiences, but just don't compare yourself and opportunities will come and it's like you will be just fine. So I have worked at Walgreens pharmacy the past 2 summers and like on Christmas break and stuff. And then for volunteer, those like Kate said, that just comes with clubs. For career exploration, I've had the opportunity to job shadow emergency room pharmacist, which was really cool and something that I didn't realize was like an actual career. And then I've also had the opportunity to shadow like a general inpatient pharmacist that works on a hospital floor. So yeah, it's definitely just super amazing to have opportunities and they do come easily, so do not stress.
That's wonderful. We have a question in the chat that I think you three would be better at answering than I would. How do you get the opportunity to shadow a pharmacist? How did you go about that process?
I can go. Um, so my boyfriend actually works at Parkview Hospital, so he kind of knew some of these pharmacists before, so I actually got the contact from him. But if you go on like any hospital website or even call like a Walgreens or CVS and even like talk to the manager, there are resources for you to almost like apply for a job shadow and enter your information and like all that good stuff, and you will be able to job shadow.
Any other suggestions to throw out there?
Yeah, it can be kind of awkward sometimes, but you kind of have to throw yourself out there. I reached out to like my CVS that I currently work at, and it's kind of weird at first, but it's just like, hey, can I just watch you for like an hour or two? And like I've also shadowed at U of M back home, and like it's kind of just really awkward to just throw yourself out there at first, but it's really worth it. And I really have enjoyed like my shadowing experience and like opening up to new fields in pharmacy. So I think it's really important.
Thank you very much. There's another question in the chat. What is Purdue's policy on student employment? Is it limited to part-time employment during the school year with most shadowing happening during the summer? I'm not sure what the actual rules are, but I do know that a lot of my students will either choose not to work during the school year or work part-time. With that, they might shadow during summer, during fall break or Thanksgiving break or the semester break. Um, so there are different options that way. One thing I do hear a lot from students is as soon, kind of going back to Grace's question about shadowing a pharmacist, if you can find one pharmacist, make sure you ask them, hey, do you have any other pharmacist friends I can talk to? Because pharmacists all know each other. So that's a really great opportunity. Once you're in the door with one person, they can help get you connected to others. One more thing I would like to throw out about these puzzle pieces while I still have them up is you want to keep track of what you're doing in high school along with what you do in college. So we generally look back 4 years. So for a lot of students, that is their junior and senior years of high school, along with their first 2 years at Purdue. And you are allowed to count all of the stuff you do in that time. So I would strongly recommend a Google Doc or an Excel spreadsheet. I do have one student who is very passionate about her physical notebook where she wrote everything down and kept it where you keep the date, the number of hours you spent working, who it was with, what you learned from the experience. That is huge because when you get to the application, it is going to ask for all of that. So if you can start keeping track now in one location, you will definitely thank yourself later. A lot of people like to ask about the numbers as far as PharmD applications go. We generally get about 400 applications to the PharmD program per year. Of those 400, we generally ask about 250 to join us for an interview. Last year it was 250 on the dot. And we are aiming for a class of 150. So we are bringing in 150 first-year professional students each year. About 135 of those students will come from Purdue West Lafayette. So while our students don't get any bump necessarily, it is those resources of having the advisors, having the PHSC 200 class. I know as an advisor personally, every time I meet with my students, I'm asking, what shadowing have you done? What work did you do this summer? What clubs are you doing? That type of stuff. So it's really helpful to have us on board. But inevitably, there are students who don't get admitted to the PharmD program. So it's nice to have a backup plan. As I'm currently meeting with my sophomores, I'm asking them, if you're not admitted, what are you planning on doing? A lot of my students are applying to more than one pharmacy school just so they have a backup. That could be something from their home state if they're from out of state. It could be elsewhere in Indiana. It could be elsewhere on the top 10 schools. Anything that they're comfortable with, they let me know, and we check to make sure that they're meeting the requirements for that school as well. You can look at taking a third year at Purdue and working towards the BSPS program because remember, like I said, those first 2 years are nearly identical. So you're still kind of on track for the BSPS program. So you can take that third year, and then after the third year, you can decide either to apply again or you can finish out the BSPS program. So lots of options that way. I have a few students who change their major because they decide they have other interests. But everyone has a plan and we sorted it out. If students are not admitted to the program, we advisors have options and opportunities to look at some of their weaknesses and some of their strengths so we can focus on what went well and what could be better in the future if they are interested in pursuing that. We also have priority admissions. So for students who complete these listed courses at Purdue, and if they are able to achieve a 3.25 or higher GPA, and no less than a C minus and a GPA of 3.0 or higher in these classes, we will guarantee an interview. So that's the first step in the process. So if you did the application and meet these criteria, we will guarantee you an interview. So you will be part of that group. We don't necessarily guarantee that you get in the program because we still want to make sure you're well-rounded, that you have those other puzzle pieces. But this is something that can be really helpful. I'm going to pause for just a moment because we have some questions in the chat for our ambassadors. It says, what are your favorite parts about the curriculum and which opportunities, such as jobs, internships, and career exploration, have you been given? It'd also be great if you could tell us about your favorite part about Purdue's pharmacy's community as well. I'm not sure if anyone has particular interest in certain parts of that, but I will leave it to you three to kind of take a look at that and share your experience.
Yeah, I can kind of talk about like the curriculum and like I really love the curriculum right now because I just entered my first year of professional school, so we're getting down to the nitty-gritty and I really like it. It's been just an amazing like opportunity to learn more and it's really hands-on at Purdue. I really think it's special like being able to work in the pharmacy. Not a lot of pharmacy schools do that. I don't even think they do. And also next semester I'm taking nuclear too. I'm starting the series. I'm really excited, just a lot of opportunities here that aren't at other places that I really love. And also, I just love that Purdue feels like a community. I know my advisors are truly there for me and they want to see me succeed. And all my peers around me also want to succeed. We really are a family. It's real, it's corny, but it's really true. I love the environment here and it's an experience like none other.
Yeah, I can kind of talk about the ambassadors. So all three of us are part of the Purdue Pharmacy Ambassadors Club, which is a club that you can apply to even your first year. It actually is a club that requires an application process. But so what we do is we are ambassadors for the College of Pharmacy. So we will do things like such as now like student panels, or we will give pharmacy building tours, or go to lunches with families, and just kind of talk to prospective high school students and their families about Purdue and the pharmacy and just why we love it, just because we're all super passionate about it. So that's what the ambassadors are.
And then I can talk a little bit about like career and exploration. I didn't get I didn't get a job my first semester of school because I wanted to focus on school, get settled in and everything. And then my second semester, I applied to Walmart Pharmacy and I got hired there. And I only worked once a week. So I worked on the every Saturday or Sunday, and that worked out really well for me. I tried working both days of the weekend. That was too much. I think it's all about just finding that balance, but I do think it is doable to have a job while you're in school. And then I continued working there over the summer as well. And then internship wise, my internship was given to me through a scholarship, which if any of you guys are high school students, it's Lilly Scholars at Purdue. Deadline, if you're applying now, is November 1st. Please apply. It's an amazing program. But so that's how I got my internship. But the career fairs at Purdue are really amazing and they bring amazing companies in. And it is daunting to go as a freshman, and you may feel it's kind of like rejection therapy because as a freshman, they may not look at you as closely as some of the older students, but there are opportunities, and I do have friends that got internships as freshmen. So I definitely recommend those career fairs. And then someone just asked if there's a living and learning community for pre-farm students, and yes, there is.
I was just going to bring that up. Did any of you live in the learning community at all? Kate,
I
could you
did.
tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, so I lived there 2 years ago in Owen Hall. It's not the nicest, but the experience is what makes it, I think. I came in obviously an out-of-state student. I didn't know a single person on Purdue's campus, so being in the learning community really helped me be around people who were taking similar courses, and we would all get together in like the lobby and be like, "How do you do this Chem 129 problem?" How you're helping each other out. Like it really is a community, and I just like that I was able to get to know more people really easily within pharmacy. But as the years go on, it's like I know everyone in my class, I feel like at this point. So it's just like building that closer bonds. And honestly, I don't think any other major is really like that because we're just special like that, I guess. But
For those of you who may not be familiar with a living learning community, is a place where you can go live with people of a certain interest. In this case, pre-pharmacy students or BSPS freshmen, all students within the College of Pharmacy can live kind of together in a hall in their freshman year. So if you are interested in being around more freshman students who are in pharmacy with you, this can be a great option. It's not just about the living community either. We have some faculty and staff who are connected to that living learning community to make sure that students are getting connected to faculty and staff. They do some dinners to make sure that students are going to dinner, but also getting connected to the faculty and staff. They'll bring in some outside guests. They do activities to keep people involved, and they will bring in guest speakers as well. So definitely a lot of opportunities with that. So thank you for that question. Some next steps, things to pay attention to. The application is open for incoming freshmen. That November 1st deadline that Sloan mentioned is really, really useful because it allows you to apply for merit-based scholarships, Lilly Scholars at Purdue. It is for learning communities, honors college. So you will really want to jump on that application if you haven't already. So that is the early action application deadline. And then the regular decision deadline is January 15th. Things that you will want to aim for, if you want to be eligible to take calculus and chemistry your first semester, we would ideally see an SAT math score of 620, an ACT math score of 26, or if you don't have either of those, we'll have you take the ALEX placement exam. And what that does is it checks to see if you are calculus ready. And don't worry if it doesn't go well the first time, you can take it up to 5 times, and there are some review modules that you can do in between attempts. So if, for example, you forgot the exponent rules, you can go back and review that so that you have a little bit of, oh yeah, I learned about that. You get a chance to review it. Make sure you submit any AP, IB, dual credit, anything that you have, submit it to Purdue because we will find a way to count it somewhere. And then also try to do some shadowing and volunteering. It can be hard to get shadowing opportunities before you're 18, but that's where interviewing pharmacists can be really useful. Asking someone if they have half an hour, 45 minutes to sit down with you and answer some questions. What do you like about pharmacy? What don't you like about pharmacy? If you could go back and do it again, would you pick the same field? Would you do something different? What would surprise me about your job? Definitely some questions to get people thinking. So try to get that kind of experience. I'm now going to open the floor for questions, which this question from Sean falls in perfectly well. Feel free to throw out questions now, and then my contact information is back on the screen in case you have any questions afterward. But where are some recent PharmD graduates employed? Because of all of the different areas of pharmacy, we have students in a bunch of different areas. So we do have some at CVS, Walgreens, Kroger, at these retail pharmacy locations. I know we have some at different hospitals. So Eskenazi in Indianapolis is a big one. Also around the West Lafayette area. Some people will go back towards where they're from. Sloan, did you have something you wanted to throw out there?
Yeah, I wanted to say that I've talked to 3 Purdue alum that currently were PharmD that work at Eli Lilly right now. So that was it. It was also taught me that there's so many more options, like industry based, with PharmD besides just your typical Walgreens and things like that. So I just wanted to add that in.
Thank you for that. So we have students in compounding pharmacy, in nuclear pharmacy, different companies around the world. Nolan brought up a question about industry opportunities for APPEs. So our students go on rotations in their 4th professional year. So that's their 6th year with us. And in those rotations, you get to kind of experience a little bit of everything. So there are certain required rotations you have to do, a little bit in retail, a little bit in hospital, and then you have some elective options. Some of those will have students going abroad into Kenya, London, Wales, Colombia. We also have some that are not quite so not quite that far away, but Alaska, the Southwest United States. So we are getting students connected around the world, so they have lots of options, kind of wherever they want to go. As far as what types of industry opportunities exist, I'm not super familiar with the rotations myself, but if you're interested, Nolan, I can help get you in touch with our experiential office, who is connected to our preceptors, who are the ones who take in our students. There's a question. What do you guys like or dislike about the pre-pharmacy major? As of right now, would you choose this major again? So for our ambassadors.
I can kind of give my input on it. The pre-pharmacy 2 years is super helpful in kind of teaching you those basic like chemistry and biology and mathematics things that you kind of need to know going into pharmacy and like how drugs metabolize in the body. I will say after 2 years it does get a little old and tiring not being able to learn the actual pharmacy stuff, which is super interesting, but pre-pharmacy is definitely super helpful in getting you on track for pharmacy school, especially at Purdue.
Yeah, I think those 2 years are really, really important. Those 2 years like really help you into pharmacy school. We still talk about stuff like literally today we talked about stuff that was taught in anatomy. So they're really important and I think like I would choose it a million times over again, but I really liked having that foundation and starting to prepare for some of those classes later on that might be trickier because having a stacked semester towards the end and having some biochemistry towards the end was helpful to prepare for this semester to be like, okay, this is kind of what we're easing ourselves into. So I think those are really important.
I also really enjoy it, and I think that it's a great mix of different types of sciences. I know a lot of the more concentrated STEM majors don't really get looks at all sides of things, and I think we get a lot of variety in the types of science classes we're taking. So that's something I've enjoyed about it.
Yeah, just to add another little thing off of what Kate said, it's super helpful in like helping you learn how to study and gain those good study habits and time management and kind of learning how the curriculum and classes work so that you're prepared for pharmacy school.
Thank you for your input. There's a question, how many undergrads are admitted each year? Usually that number is somewhere around 240 to 250. This past, or I guess this fall's freshman class was 253. There's a question, do pharmacy students have to take multivariable calculus or any math above calculus BC? The answer is no. I do have one student who is pursuing a math minor, so he did take multivariable calculus and beyond, but it is not required by any means. Our PharmD students are required to go as far as Calculus 1. Our BSPS students are required to take Calculus 2. If a student earns a 4 or a 5 in Calculus AB, that will give them credit for Calculus 1. If a student earns a 4 or 5 in Calculus BC, that gives them credit for Calculus 1 and Calculus 2. Also, if a student were to earn a 4 or 5 AB subscore on Calculus BC, they would also get credit for AP or for Calculus 1. For the priority interview, do we still get priority if we did not take classes because of AP Chem or such in high school? Yes, I just checked that one with my supervisor recently. Most useful or relative classes or electives that helped you prepare for PharmD in undergrad. Hey, Kate, can you give us some insight on what you think has been useful to you?
Yeah, this sounds really crazy, but honestly, a lot of the chemistry classes are very like foundational. Like biochemistry, it's a very challenging class towards the end, and it kind of is the final push before pharmacy school because we are still taking biochemistry right now, at least for me. But it's those classes, like they're harder classes, but they are totally manageable, and like having those skills are really important, like building up to the program, because I would not know how to study without those classes. I wouldn't know what to look for in lectures and how to take notes or anything. I thought those were really helpful. Also, like the anatomy classes were helpful. They come up all the time. I guess like other like elective classes. I really enjoyed like the EDPS series. It's like a leadership course. It's really like interesting because it's talking more about like emotional things and like how to be like a good leader, which I think is important in pharmacy to kind of help us stand out as Purdue. But yeah, I enjoyed those classes and I think that those like really help going to the program.
Thank you. What is Purdue looking for in high school students looking to go to Purdue for pharmacy? The biggest thing that makes pharmacy different than just a standard application to Purdue would be we are looking for 6 semesters of lab sciences. We would like we require 2 semesters of chemistry and 2 semesters of biology. 2 semesters of physics is preferred. It really helps our students if they have some physics experience before they get to Purdue. Um, I do not know test stats off the top of my head and transcript wise. Just be as strong of an applicant as you can, and that will be your best bet. Try to be the best you can be. For university-wide scholarships, is there a separate application beyond the Early Action Purdue application that needs to be completed before November 1st to be eligible? Ambassadors, can you help me out with this one? Was there anything you had to do that was separate?
Um, I don't think there is a separate application. I know that all the merit scholarships are just given to you when you apply. That's not a separate application. I know a lot of the scholarships in my hometown that like were through organizations, things like that. They were, I think, due like I think we got notified by those in like January, but those weren't university related. So don't know if that helps at all, but
Thank you for that. I know that Scholarship Universe is a really useful tool that Purdue uses to ensure that students are getting all the scholarships they can. So I would highly suggest you look into Scholarship Universe. Things get a little bit different when you enter the PharmD program, but that's a little ways down the road for you all. Had some excellent questions so far. Are there any other questions? Ooh, most jaw-dropping academic experience or general experience you had with Purdue Farm. That's gonna make you think. Anyone have some thoughts on this one?
I remember getting my final grade in Chem 129 and I cried because I was so proud of myself. And it really was just like jaw-dropping experience to go from being in high school and being like, la 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 la, I'm so smart. This is so easy. Don't study. Take this exam, A plus. And in college, it's like, oh, you do need to take the time. You do need to study. So it really was so rewarding and to get my like final grade back. And I was like, wow, you've got this. You can do this. So if you do, you will get bad grades. And I just want to reiterate that don't beat yourself up over it. I did poor on my first exam and I cried for like the rest of the day. But that gets you nowhere. You got to pick yourself back up and you'll figure out how to study and maybe you'll jaw drop when you get your final grade back.
I think for me, mine was getting my white coat recently. I don't know, just being there was like really crazy for me, and I just felt like really special. And I was like, I remember just holding it in my hand and having my voice shake, and like I was really excited about it, and like it really like solidified like all the hard work I put in these like past like 2 years of pre-farm was all worth it, and I was very excited. It was definitely jaw dropping.
Yeah, I would honestly just kind of say the same thing as Sloan, like, always doing really well in high school and then kind of getting your first like C on the college exam. It can be a little tough, but you'll make it through, I promise.
I love it. Thank you for that. Who is your favorite faculty member? What do they teach, and why are they your favorite?
My favorite professor in pre-farm was, well, I still am in pre-farm, but I'm not there right now, was Sean Humphrey. He teaches bio. He's just amazing. I think everyone can agree with that. He's so funny. He really engages you in the lecture and he makes dad jokes that sometimes are hard to laugh at, but you can't help but not laugh at them. And then also, Amanda here is my advisor, and she's truly the best advisor. When you think, oh, they're not going to respond to my email, they will. She responds in like 5 minutes. And I promise they don't think you're annoying when you're emailing them 5 times a day. So, yeah.
I really love my one professor. His name is Dr. Svensson. He taught part of immunology when I was an undergrad, and he teaches part of pathophysiology right now. And I just love his teaching style. He's the best. He's so easy to come up to and like ask questions to. Honestly, all the faculty are. But I also have to give a shout out to my advisor too. I love Katie May. She's the best. She's been with me since freshman year. She's watched me cry and grow, and I love her. She's the best, and she's always like looking out for me, and we just talk during our advisor meetings. We don't even talk about school sometimes, talk about life, but
Yeah, I would say I have two. I think my first one is Dr. Beatrice Castro. She teaches anatomy and she will like give you flashcards and she has an accent, so she'll even post videos with like captions of all lectures. So she's amazing and super resourceful. I think my second one is probably Dr. Susan Holiday, who is like the head of our organic chemistry labs. I love her. She cracks me up. Like she's amazing and super understanding. If you have to like miss a lab for a week or switch a lab section or anything like that, she's more than welcome to help.
All right, I want to be respectful of our ambassadors' time, so we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. One more reminder, my name and contact information is on the screen. I will also throw my email in the chat if that helps anyone. Thank you all so much for taking time out of your day to join us. This was fantastic. You guys had amazing questions. Thank you so much. I will stick around for a few minutes if you have any additional questions, and I will go ahead and stop the recording.